What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Diginachi sequence. I'm Will Carr. We are excited to be here today, December 28th. This will be our final episode of the year, going into the new year. Got two of my great friends, Crypto Heavy and XRP Sean.
How you doing, Will?
Hey, what's
What's
going
up?
on, man?
What's up, fellas? It's a fun one. How's your guys' holidays going?
Easy.
It's good, man. Good times.
Smooth. I haven't even celebrated Christmas yet.
Shit.
Oh,
I'm
you
happy that
still
everything
waiting
is
on family to get in?
Yeah, we got family coming in. I think on Tuesday, so we'll do it all then.
I'm happy that
Yeah.
it's over. I'm happy that we moving out of the holiday. It's
Yeah,
always so
you,
crazy, man.
you managed with the family up there.
You said what?
You managed with the family up there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's the kids had a good Christmas, man. That's really what it come down to, and everything else was easy going. So I can't complain, man.
Awesome.
Honestly, I feel blessed and grateful.
Same. Blessed and grateful and stoked beyond measure for 2026. Let's go.
That was the only present I didn't get, man. XRP didn't go to new all-time highs. That's Santa didn't bring me what I wanted, so like that's the problem.
Santa's just coming late, man. Santa's might come in January this year.
Isn't it interesting that when cryptos aren't doing anything, metals are moving?
Yeah.
It seems to be the trend for the longest time now, and silver is ripping.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's just totally different than any of the past trends, though, man, because we've got silver ripping into, more than 50% above its old all time high. Like, this is this is unlike any type of past crypto cycles that we've seen where maybe silver and gold have moved in the opposite direction of crypto. This is completely different. And honestly, so today I've been doing some research into the COMEX 589 rule. Are you guys familiar with that at all?
Go for it.
All right. Well, it's interesting because obviously in the XRP community, there's so many riddles around 589, and people have tried to speculate that that's a price thing or it's somehow like a date thing. And I've heard people speculate that it's somehow like an esoteric thing that means like beginning to end and all types of different stuff that people have tried to speculate around these riddles, right? But what I think it really comes down to, and at least something that is very concrete, is this COMEX 589 rule, which has to do with the metals markets when extreme volatility kicks in. And so essentially what it does is if the market makers decide, it's the CME group, if the CME group decides that metals are getting too volatile in the futures markets, that they are basically what they do is they set in these parameters. So they execute COMEX 589 and they say, if it hits a certain percentage higher than it started today, we're shutting off trading. If it goes a certain percentage below, we're shutting off trading. And so they're trying to reduce volatility. But really, what that means is that it's become so volatile that they're trying to manipulate the market and not even allow trading, to allow things to cool off, whether it's going too high or too low. And that's where something like XRP steps in, because what the issue with something like COMEX 589 is a liquidity problem. They're trying to save the banks. And the reason that they do this is because they're trying to not let the banks get shorted to get liquidated on their leverage on all these paper derivatives that they have, because we know even now the number's gotten less. A year ago there was over 400 paper contracts for every ounce of silver. I think today it sits around 350. As the price of silver has gone higher, there's been some lessening of the leverage in the system, right? And that's just going to continue to drive the price higher and higher. But it's my belief, and we all saw the bearable guy riddle that just came out a few days ago with XRP on the moon and Brad planting the flag and all that. I think what is being shown to us is when liquidity blockchains are about to have their day in the sun, per se, is when the financial system starts to break. And when the COMEX 589 rule has to be deployed because metals have gotten so volatile because the financial system is actually breaking, That's the moment that they need something like XRP, a liquidity token that can come in and provide that global liquidity for banks, for financial institutions. And that's when we're going to see this insane skyrocket in price appreciation. Hints like what Jake Claver's been saying for months, if not years at this point. He put his own money up on the line to bet that it was going to happen by December 31st. Guess what? I think he's going to lose that 18 grand that he put up. But fortunately for Jake, he's got a lot of other 18 grands, that one's not going to, break the bank for him. But, I think he might just be a month or two off because we see what's happening in silver. We see what's happening in gold, platinum, copper, all the metals are going insane. Stock markets continue to set all-time highs, which makes no sense, while crypto has gotten super, super suppressed. So we'll see what happens here in the next few months. But this COMEX 589, there's something that I was digging in today to understand what it actually is. And I think it makes sense how it's going to play into the XRP price appreciation and utility cryptos as a whole.
Well, there was an announcement by China saying that they would actively be restricting their silver exports just recently.
Yep.
So that doesn't even go into effect until January 1st. And that's where we saw the rise of nearly 5% in 24 hours on silver. I think we'll see countries start to move to limit losing resources in any kind of, or bleeding resources out, well, except for our country, but I think we'll see other countries start to protect the resources that they have, and this is a big move. So we might see $100 silver by next week, which is insane.
Yeah, that's what I heard them saying something about like three digit silver within the coming months. So, and I think that, it ties back to like silver and having the utility that we use silver into everything. I think that was the case that they was making. And so if they start suppressing it and countries stop letting it get bled out, then the banks can't do this paper silver nonsense, which is really probably the reason why silver is suppressed like it is anyway. And you got physical silver coming off the markets and these exchanges that's out there, it's going to go up either way, and it's similar to like XRP like being suppressed. So silver to me is one of those assets that everybody should have, and you probably should have had it when it was $18 an ounce, but still, just like XRP being $1.85, silver at $77 probably still a really good buy, just because silver in itself is going to be a utility that we use for a lifetime. You will never have too much silver because silver is always going to be used for something. Every electronic that we have, every phone that we have is using silver. So the utility of silver is catastrophic. And if we start seeing it come off the markets like it's doing, it's no coincidence it's moving like it is because these countries are starting to buy it up. So it's going to be interesting to watch it play out.
It all comes down to utility. All of these assets rising come down to utility. When you look at silver and what it's used for, and every single piece of technology that it's being wasted in, it all comes down to utility. So we will see, I think 2026 is going to be the year of utility, and we're going to slowly start to see all these signs that are going to point to assets that actual have use case. So silver being used in everything, any of these ISO tokens having their places, it's going to be super, super important that all of these assets are respected. And if you're paying attention to the breadcrumbs that they've been laying out for decades across the board, the same thing happened with oil. The same thing happened with the dot-com era. We're here paying attention to utility, and that's super important. I see Will's over there having some technical difficulties.
I think that the same, like they always point out gold. I think that's like their go-to for everything. And I agree. I think, and just like Bitcoin and gold, like they kind of play the same role, like the store value. So like everybody leans to that to try to store their wealth. And but that's more for wealthy people. So like silver to me, just like XRP, is more for the everyday person, a opportunity that we have to be able to like store our wealth because it's smaller in the capacity of what you can buy and you can get more of it, and you can try to hedge yourself against the big money that's out there because trying to go buy an ounce of gold, most people can't afford that. Nobody can buy one Bitcoin. Most Americans can't afford that. Most people in the world can't. So like being able to get assets that you can actually buy and hold that's going to appreciate over time. I think that's the unlock that like we already realized and that hopefully a lot more people realize because that's the key to success right now.
No doubt. Will, what are you doing over there, man?
Man, trying to get my camera to work.
That
This is
fancy
what
Sony
happens. I
camera,
just get a
man.
new camera and that switches me back to the computer. I'm all bragging. I'm all happy about, getting to look as clear as Sean. And here I am.
You just talked about the 4K and you back.
Yeah, that's not even
You back up?
1080p.
No, dude, you're back in 480, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
My goodness.
Can't switch cameras. Man. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know that I can, I don't know.
you just might have to square back up to the old
Yeah.
camera, bro.
This might be what you guys get from me for the rest of the time. Everyone
Well,
got
it's
the good angle to get started, but
well, we can all see that you're 6'10" and a half right now. So
you get an actual POV of me here.
Man, gotta love
Yeah.
it. That's why we raw and uncut, baby. We raw and uncut over here.
It is what it is.
yep,
If if this is the
totally.
biggest problem I have to deal with today, it's a good day.
Facts.
Let me ask you: is your Sony camera on?
It is. The one died, and it died is basically the problem. And now that I've got it figured out what I would need to do, Riverside says I can't switch cameras midstream, even though it switched cameras for me midstream.
it
But
was a
I guess
backup.
that was better than kicking me off.
It's all good. You guys have any good 2026 New Year's resolution?
I really don't do resolutions really, but I do want to get better at like the content part of it. Like I think that that's something that I want to really focus on going into 2026, trying to produce more content because I feel like it's like a diary, and we do this every Sunday, and it's fucking amazing, to be able to document us and document our stories, and I just want to be more consistent in doing that. And as it grows, like on my little small TikTok channel and things like that, like to add extra revenue, that's ways of trying to position myself so that I can kind of detach from the system. So how long it's gonna take, who knows? But like just trying to be more vigilant of that and more purposeful of that is what I'm trying to do this year.
Yeah,
What
it's
about you?
hard to have expectations when you're trying to create something, whether you're an artist, you're a musician, any kind of creative mind. It's really tough to set expectations on yourself. As a 17, 18-year-old, I had always hoped to be famous and be playing all over the world with music. But I really feel like once music gained true meaning for me in my early to mid 20s, I stopped caring about that because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're Justin Bieber or if you're just the dude who plays guitar and sings in your closet. It really doesn't matter. You just gain appreciation because none of that none of that matters. So for this channel, yeah, it's cool. We have like 160 followers now and that's amazing. I'm super thankful for that, which is really thankful that there are 160 people out there that were interested enough to hit like, subscribe, and all that jazz. But at the same time, we don't do this to we're not trying to get sponsors. Like it's cool if it happens, but man, it is so much more authentic to sit here and to create something that's just real. We don't have anybody knocking on our door. We don't have I think we had show notes last week for the first time ever. And I think that show had the least amount of views. So it just doesn't matter. I know it's Christmas and everybody's busy, but at the same time, it's just all about authenticity, and each and every day, whether you want to put a year to it or not, each and every day is about being yourself. And there were some I think there were some 400 or 500 people that got into a room. They measured everybody's frequencies and how intense they were, and they went through a range of emotions, including love and hate. And the strongest frequency that was produced by all these people was just feeling like your true self,
Authenticity.
being authentic. So if you can weave that with love and good things, wow, So that's an everyday thing for me, but 2026, we're looking at some crazy signs in the charts. I believe our chart guy sent us this chart that was basically showing gold, silver, and XRP, and how silver's gone up, how gold went up, and now XRP is kind of mirroring that last dip. So whether you believe in it or not, good for you. Great. If you don't care, then don't watch. But at the same time, I feel like collectively all of us have put in over a decade of research into what we've invested in. And to be honest, I can't be more excited. We have to have patience, and we talked about this plenty of times about the building of a foundation and how important it is to put so much time into that. 2026 is gonna be great,
Yeah.
and I can't wait.
I think it's gonna be a year that we all like the year that we thought 2025 was gonna be. I really do. I just think that we have all the news that we could ever ask for, positive news for XRP and the crypto market, to be honest with you. And if we get the Clarity Act in the first quarter, they say in January. I don't believe that because I don't trust the government. So I think maybe first quarter. That'll be impressive enough if we can get it in the first quarter. And I think that'll open up the floodgates for a lot of the crypto industry in itself. And I think that's when we see retail investors flood back in once we get that. The institution's already here, and the ETFs are going crazy for XRP. Like I think it was trending what 50 million per day, from what Chad Steinberger is talking about. So like the chart showing that XRP is an asset that these institutions want, which is exactly what we've been saying for the last fucking 5, 7, 10 years. You know what I mean? So, and everybody said we were crazy to say that institutions want to use XRP, but why would they be buying ETFs if they
Yeah.
didn't? You know, if it was an asset that was a shit coin that they call it, then why would they have that kind of inflow coming in for XRP? It don't make sense. Like this big money just buying it. So like clearly they know that this asset is going to go up and they believe in it. I think retail just they kind of they just stalling us out, man. And a lot of retail just kind of falling on the wayside. But like if you believe in what you hold, then I'll just recommend people to just walk away from the charts for a little while and just go live life, deal with your family, start building. Because like XRP is one asset, is one part of your portfolio, but you should be building other streams of income, other ways to make money, and it shouldn't just be all on XRP. So this may be a time for you to start putting money into other places where you can start building money, especially if you got a big enough bag of XRP and if you believe in it. So I just think people just need to really focus on like how the year is going and like how they can really position themselves and not feel like they got to sell a XRP because that's the one thing you
Yeah.
don't want.
And two things on what you said there. One, there has not been a single day of outflows for XRP since the ETFs launched. Not one day. Every day has been inflows. Every day, more XRP's been taken off the table. So that's the first note that I wanted to say. The second note, you talk about the Clarity Act. And I was reading something today that XRP is actually in a very unique position. Going back to this COMEX 589, if we start to get into a position where metals are breaking the financial market and the banks are going insolvent, there's only one blockchain right now that has legal clarity within an actual US court. And you could say Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol are labeled by the CFTC as commodities. But when it actually comes down to what has a court said, there's only one blockchain that has been through the legal system, been sued, had to come out the other side clean to be shown that it's one that can be trusted, and that's XRP. So even if we don't have the Clarity Act and we are seeing the banking system and the financial system as we know it breaking, XRP is the coin that they're going to tap for the liquidity to fix it because it's the only blockchain, it's the only ledger, it's the only token that has that type of legal clarity.
Absolutely.
Well, we've been dealing with the multi-headed snake, and we're constantly trying to cut off new heads. But when you look at all the chairs, the new chairs of the SEC, the CFTC, now we're dealing with a pro-crypto government. Like, we're starting to collect some momentum here, and it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before this thing actually erupts.
I
And
see.
you better be holding on to some ISO tokens and not some shit coin, not some meme coin created on Solana. Like this is a time to be real about how the financial markets are about to move, how everybody's dollar is about to move. The days of waiting 3 to 5 business days for your money to move across town, across the world, they're over. It's over.
I think just people understanding that part of it is something like the newer investors don't understand. Like, like what the utility of XRP is. They see all the people online talking about it and influencers, but like we so far removed from the actual utility of XRP because we talked about it so often. But like newer people, you need to understand that like this is how money moves. It's gonna move it faster, it's gonna move it cheaper, and it's gonna be something that will change how you send money across the world if they utilize XRPL and the blockchain. So like it's one of those things that we need to have in our new financial system. Either way, like we need to have this. We need to update it because it's so outdated. It's chaotic and it costs too much money. There's no reason that we shouldn't be able to send money on the weekends to our family and friends because the bank is closed. That doesn't make sense. Like, so it's just like just the purpose behind crypto and blockchain and stable coins and XRP specifically is like is so important for us to be able to move forward. It's literally the last industry that hasn't been updated that needs to get updated because it's so backdated and so old. Like, you know what I mean? And the banks are fighting it for God knows why, because they make money hand over fist for the overdraft fees and all the other bullshit that they get from us. When if we move money like we supposed to within seconds, you probably wouldn't need to worry about your actual check getting deposited, but the withdrawals coming out first and all this other nonsense that you got to deal with when you deal with your bank. You know what I mean? So if it's happening simultaneously and happening in real time, then you got your money there and you can cover your whatever your fee is and whatever the stuff that you purchasing. So I just think that we moving in a different time right now in 2026. More than likely is going to be like the start. It's the catalyst to like where we want to go.
Whole new world.
We've been fighting this battle for 113 years. Something happened in 1913 and fractional banking took over this country. Now, I don't have to point fingers. We just have to know how much weight comes with that system. That is the system that we're fighting right now. And you better believe that they're going to put up the fight of a lifetime
Absolutely.
because the days of fractional lending are coming to an end. That's my belief. You can take it however you want. That's how I feel that this world has got to move forward. We've got to stop taking every penny that they possibly can. I mean, you paid 200 grand for a house? Wait, no, you didn't. You paid 650 for it over 30 years. That shit has got to go. And that's the people that we are fighting. So I expect nothing less every time good news comes out and the market's manipulated. So that's the war we're fighting. It's got to come to an end,
But
whether
you
it's
see,
divine intervention or whatever you believe in. Like this shit has got to end.
you saw the banks, they trying to get them to go back into the Genius Act and take away like the interest and stuff like that. And the Coinbase CEO was like, that ship has sailed. Y'all not going to get that. We're not going to repeal the Genius Act. We're not going to change the language in the Genius Act. So did you guys get what you want? And he was like, what kind of world we live in where the banks outright in public are lobbying against the Senate and the government to make changes that benefits them. Like they ain't even trying to hide it no more. They're doing it in plain sight.
It's
They don't give a shit.
desperation
They
at
like,
this point.
we want to stop this because we losing money or we can't make enough money off of it and crypto will. And they want to fight it and they not even hiding it. It's like crazy. It's like what kind of world we live in? Like you being corrupt, you pay us 0.0001% on the interest, but y'all make 4% from the Fed. That don't make sense. Like, so we don't make shit, but you make everything, and you still mad that other companies, instead of raising your game and like, well, we're going to give you more interest on your money because we want to be competitive, like we supposed to have a competitive market. You want to try to stall out the crypto industry and the exchanges and try to make them go out of business and stop that stuff that's going to make them money because you don't want to comply. You don't want to be competitive. You just want an easy road. And the banks, I can't wait for them to go insolvent because some of these big banks need to get a rude awakening. I
Yeah.
swear, man, I want to see them fail, bro. Like I really do.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see one of these big banks
I
go under.
understand the
Well,
sentiment,
this
but
is
I'd
Deserve.
also say, and they may deserve it, but what I would say is we should never wish failure on any other man. We can have success ourselves
what
even
if
without other
what if they're
people
not
having to
men?
fail.
Are they really men?
Man, Sean, are you trying to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole right now?
We
I mean,
talk
my God, guys, we try to
blame
plan
the
for months
establishment.
and we plan for months and years ahead. The elites planned for
Yes, they
generations
do.
ahead. All this shit's already been planned for so long. You take the 2008 crisis of all the housing market and how they set that up for failure. That was a setup, and guess who came out on top on the other
The
end?
bang.
People like us could no longer buy a bunch of houses as a solo investor. We were capped to a very low number. Meanwhile, all these big banks were allowed to come in and buy tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of properties overnight.
And now they own everything. They
I
own
mean,
everything.
every single big event that's happened financially has been to favor the elites. It is so time for the meek to inherit the
Amen.
earth, and that we're sitting here at the precipice. This is the most important time to be alive,
Yep.
in my opinion.
And with the 2026 lights that they're got at Times Square having 589 lights, did you guys see how the news media was like, why are we even telling this? They're like, why was this given to us as important information? The news anchors are confused. They're like, why do they want us to tell everyone there's 589 lights on this thing? I'm just like, this world is a script, man.
It's
This
a
world
script,
is a
man.
script.
It really is.
We're about to see
And
some
it's going crazy
insane
too.
things happen in 2026, not just in the financial markets, but I mean, I don't want to dive too deep into politics, but we see what's happening in Minnesota right now, just outright fraud being exposed all across the system. And this is
Was it
only going to
110
get
million
worse.
dollars in one day that they 110 million dollars they found
Yeah.
in one day?
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, man. Like if if we do not see an insane amount of arrests and indictments to clean up our government in 2026, while at the same time the financial system is going through the a once in a century, multi-century paradigm shift. I don't even know what we're going to see in 2026 because that's what I feel like is coming down the pipeline. 2026 is going to be one of those years that we look back on and it's like, wow, that was the year everything shifted. Everything
I
shifted.
agree. I thought 2025 was gonna be that year. I mean, I was wrong, and I think a lot of people were, but I think 2026, I really do. I think that that's the year. And I mean, we keeping the hopium alive too, because it's like, well, 2025 is over, so we got to move to 2026. So let's hope that 2026 is the year. But I just feel like the way they setting it
Yeah.
up, that it was all planned for 2026. We just didn't know. We just didn't know. And the way they manipulated the market over the last 4 to 6 months is like some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. Like it doesn't make any sense like that we can go on that rise that we had when Trump got inaugurated to like us kind of getting a glimpse of like how it would be to like it just stalling out for a whole year. For a whole year, they kept the market down. That is insane to me. Like, it's no way that we can get the news that we got, ETFs and Genius Act and pro crypto like legislation and all of these things, and the markets are flat the whole time or are going down. It's just one of those things where it's the script was made and we just didn't get it. So maybe 2026 is going to be the year.
2026, it's all coming unchained, man. The chains are off.
I feel like the truth is going to come out in 2026 too, man. There's going to be a lot of truth telling that's going to happen across the world, not just in
Yeah,
crypto, but just in general, man.
totally. Well, any final thoughts, guys, before we wrap this one up?
Just thankful that this year's over and we can move on to some new territory. If you really think it's actually 2026, plenty out there that don't believe that's where we're even at. But I'd like to just encourage everybody to be wise, hang on tight, and know what you hold. Be diverse. love your family, take care of your backyard, and hang on for 2026 because I do believe it's going to be wild.
Yeah, I say continue to have the patience, man, because I think that we lack a lot of patience in the crypto market just because we want everything to happen right now. If you new investor, be patient. If you an old time investor, you've been patient. So what's a little bit longer to wait to get to the promised land that you want? So I'm super grateful that we got in early as we did. Whenever we got in, I think that's early because we still early. So I'm just grateful that we here, man.
Yeah,
Just
don't let them underestimate our patience and our ability to see the whole picture.
yeah.
Don't let them
Yeah,
underestimate you.
definitely. Well, it's a great one, guys. 2025 was a great year. I'm worth 4 times what I was a year ago, so I'm happy about that, and honestly, I mean, even outside that, it's just been a great year. Been made good friends, made great connections. My business has grown, just gotten to have a lot of really amazing experiences, and that's what it comes down to. I am geeked beyond belief for 2026. It is going to be an incredible, incredible year. But with that, I just encourage everyone, find your passions, find what you care about, find what makes you excited to wake up and get out of bed in the morning where you're jumping out of bed excited for the day. Because regardless of how much money you have, if you can jump out of bed excited every day, you're living a wealthy life. And especially as we gain wealth through metals or blockchain or whatever, I still want to have that same enthusiasm for my life. So with that said, guys, this is the Diginachi sequence. My New Year's resolution is going to be to make sure I charge my camera before next week. So with
Hey,
that,
look, man. Look, I'm gonna say this right now. Diginachi Sequence #1 podcast 2026. Mark
let's
these words,
go.
man. Mark them
Amen.
words.
We'll see you guys
Peace.
next week.